Welcome to Bloody Good Horror.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Bloody Good Horror. My name's Eric, and I'll be your host for this evening, where we will be reviewing Posessor. It's a movie directed by the Cronenberg progeny named Brandon. That's what we're talking about tonight. First up, joining me from Hotlanta, Georgia, please welcome Cece to the show.
Hello.
Next up, from Indiana, land of corn, please welcome Casey.
Hello.
What the hell is that background, Casey? What is that?
Naked Lunch.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Cronenberg.
Good. Got it. I know what... it's hard to tell if Joe's background is fake or his actual house, to be honest with you. He is from Chicago. He loves Christmas and QVC. There's really a lot to him that you may not know about. Please welcome Joe to the show.
Welcome to my sex show. I'm gonna teach you cunnilingus.
I find that highly doubtful. Last up on the show tonight.
Oh my God.
From Maryland, which is a state.
Nice.
Somewhere
Good,
on the
yeah.
eastern seaboard. Experts have debated this for years. Please welcome John to the show.
Hello, Eric.
I never say where I'm coming from, John.
No one cares.
We like it.
We've been wondering for years.
I know. I'm coming to you, John, from a little town just outside of Worcester, Massachusetts. A beautiful, the Watch City or something, or the Clock City or some shit.
Wait, is Worcester the clock city?
Yeah, there's like a
Or the watch
factory.
city?
There's like a famous factory that makes some kind of clock situation that's like worldwide now. or
The fossil factory.
Sure, there you go. Sounds right.
Timex. I think the Timex factory is also there.
Watches. Anyway, we're here to talk about Possessor, a word, John, that I have discovered several times I can't spell very well, or I have to stop and think about it.
Am I the only one that knows watch brands? Like, am I?
I have a $10 Casio, Joe, that I replace once a year when it breaks.
It's like fucking fossil. Like, you guys have heard of fossil,
Yeah, I've
right?
heard it.
Yeah, I'm
right?
familiar with fossil.
But Joe, you have to understand, when you say something, it's literally impossible to tell if you're being serious ever.
Oh,
You could have just been making that up. I wouldn't know.
I understood that he was just shouting watch brands. I just was ignoring
Well, right, gotcha. See, that's what I'm saying. Speaking of just shouting random things, Joe, please tell us what we are drinking tonight.
Beer guts.
Dakota. Dakota is like those little stands they used to have in the mall. They probably still do in the mall, I assume, right? Been in a mall in a while. Anyway, tonight we're watching Possessor, a movie about, I don't know, just it's pretty much Inception, but you know, a little different. And in honor of that, I picked a beer from a local brewery near me. This is More Brewing. They're in Villa Park, Illinois. Beautiful land if you're looking for a vacation spot this summer. And the beer I picked for them, and it'll make sense when we get into discussion. The beer I picked is Duo Function, which is a delicious sour IPA. Also listed as like a hazy IPA because it's hazy, I guess. Comes in at 6.5% alcohol. Very, very tasty. I don't think I've done a lot of sour IPAs, but obviously there's the hops in there and all that fun, but it's also sour, John, as you might have guessed. So like blackberry, blueberry, raspberry, all the berries.
Chock full of berries.
Covers them all. Spans the gamut.
Frankenberry. I think they're
Fossil, Casio, Timex.
Chuck. I think there's Chuck in there also. You know, every single one of them. So it's an interesting balance of like sort of that hot bitterness and the sourness from the sour that's going on there. All around delicious. One of my favorite styles. I wish more breweries would make this. So, definitely you probably aren't going to find this one in your neck of the woods, but more is very popular around the Chicago suburbs and everything else, John. Just lots of places. So wholeheartedly recommend you take a trip there, or just find a sour IPA from your local spot too. Do what you got to do. Morebrewing.com is their website, and big thumbs up to them.
Love it. Joe, Slack lately has been like a nonstop air fryer palooza.
It's a lot to keep up with.
People
My
espousing.
air fryer is a godsend.
I've been making dinner in it every night. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been
Well,
selling
have,
people on them on Slack. We should be
I
getting
have,
some kind of kickback, John, from the air fryer people.
I have an air fryer, but it uses oil, and it's more of just like a pot that you put oil in.
So
mean,
a
like
fryer, you're saying?
Like an actual
Yeah.
fryer.
Yeah, exactly.
It's in the air.
Same but different. But yeah, people love the air fryer.
So
We
easy.
have one at the house. We tried to use it one time, and it didn't go great. So
It seems like it takes up a lot of space. That's my concern.
Well, so I have a small one. Yeah, but the big ones for like where you'd be cooking for a whole family are massive. But yeah,
yeah,
I have a
I
small
can't deal with that.
I mean,
Um,
mine's the size of like our regular coffee maker, and I just keep it on top of the fridge.
Yeah.
we have one. It's like a car. It's even the garage. So.
I mean, a lot of air fryers are like convection ovens, but I mean, like this one just has like a pulled out sleeve.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't know. We couldn't
It's-
figure it out.
They're
I think we were doing it wrong.
They are
You poured oil in it.
incredible. All right,
We
guys.
had some gas from the car.
Jesus.
Remember that episode of Home Improvement where they cooked food on the like grill of the car or like on the engine parts of the car?
I wish I didn't, but yeah, I do.
I know you do. All right, guys, it's time. Let's take a quick break and review Possessor.
This is it, Senator. Your big break in TV. From the prime time. Main feature.
John Schnars.
Eric.
We are normally streaming right now,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
and we are actually technically streaming, but nobody's seeing it because YouTube is down.
We're just blasting the stream.
It's fucked up, dude.
It's actually we're gonna get an antenna.
Is-
Just,
Huh.
Is this how it all ends? Serious question.
Screaming into the void.
maybe.
Is this some
Yeah,
kind of
look.
coordinated attack by like the Russians or something?
Yeah, I mean, if they were gonna attack, I feel like starting with YouTube is.
Is this like some kind of
optimal.
some kind of Red Dawn scenario?
Yeah.
I don't know, John. Do you want to create panic in the populace? I might start at YouTube. People can't
for
voter fraud.
people can't distract themselves. They start freaking out, John.
I don't know. I think they'll find it. Look, if Netflix is down and
Yeah.
Amazon Prime, like Disney Plus is down. Whew,
If Netflix
know.
is down, it's time to stab your neighbor and steal their food. I think you just go right to that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. With that said, John, please bring us
Mm-hmm.
the word of the day.
Eric, today's word, and I checked. I have not used this, despite the fact that we did a movie with roughly the same name as this word. The word is incarnation. Yeah, INCARNATION. The previous film was Incarnate, so a little different. A person who embodies in the flesh a deity, spirit, or abstract quality. Can also mean one of a series of lifetimes that a person spends on Earth.
Oh,
Comes to us from the Latin incarnare. Again, my Latin pronunciation not my strong suit.
No, John, don't say that.
I believe it's of the flesh. Is that
now we're talking.
CC? I feel like you got to know this one.
What? I'm sorry.
Incarnation.
Whoa.
Incarnare.
Yeah, I mean, I think yeah, I think it would be based in flesh. So yeah, I would think it'd be of the flesh
Of the body.
Incarnate
or
is
of the body.
my
Yeah.
my go-to protein option at Chipotle, John. Or the barbacoa. I'll go
There,
with
yeah,
sometimes.
well, listen, you can't go wrong with the barbacoa. Totally agree. So there you go, Eric.
Love it, John.
Incarnation.
Tell me about Possessor, and feel free to talk a little bit about your Cronenboner.
Yeah, I mean, well, listen, my Cronenboner started and has, I guess, maintained for the father. But I'll say,
What?
But also for the son, is that what you're getting at?
yeah, well, look, like
Yeah.
we can get into
The
it, but
grown adult son. Let's
he's-
make this clear.
yeah.
John,
So Brandon's son
John is
pretty.
veering into the sections of a Pornhub that I do not go into.
So this is 40-year-old Brandon Cronenberg. He has done two full-length feature films. So the first one, Antiviral, we covered, one of Joe's all-time favorites. Yeah, that was 2012. So 8 years later, just felt like just yesterday to me. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll obviously get into where this lands in sort of the Cronenberg spectrum, I think, but it remains super fascinating how much he is. I don't want to even say like he's learning from his father and
Right.
kind of like picking up from where he was, but there's a ton of similarities. I actually feel like this one almost more so than the previous. But yeah, I mean, Possessor. So the basic plot here is that it's a sci-fi universe. I don't even think they really give us a setting. It could have been the UK. I would have guessed the UK, like somewhere in London or something. But the main character works for an assassination firm, like a hitman organization, but it's like a proper company, and they assassinate people by having this woman. I don't know, they give her a name?
Casa Voss.
You know, I think she was in Mandy. Isn't she the girlfriend
Yeah.
from Mandy?
Andrea or something.
She got a real intense look. Like, Homegirl just looks
Yeah.
like she, in real life, stabs people for fun. So it's good
Have you
casting.
have you looked at a picture of her in real life?
No, I have not.
Like it looks totally different.
Interesting.
It's shockingly different.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, in this, so whatever, this is like as a side, but it's basically like Tilda Swinton was not available, and so they like
That's
basically,
what I said.
or what was the Minority Report, the woman who plays the precog in Minority Report, similar vibes.
Can you say
John,
precog again?
In any event, Tasia, they couldn't make the name easy. Tasia has
Tasia.
they don't explain it exactly, but my understanding is she has abilities to essentially possess other people. They use technology. They basically kidnap someone. They implant something in their brain, and then they connect Tasia to these people, and through them.
I read it more as like the technology could have anyone do it, but it's like the question of how skilled you are at controlling the
she's
host,
good at it.
basically.
Well, that's like whether or not she has like innate characteristics or just like the right training.
And also, she
But there's-
seems to love to murder, which seems like a good quality for this.
we'll get into that, but she's clearly like the prize subject. I mean, it's unclear that there's even other hit people working at this firm. It's basically her and Jennifer Jason Leigh reprising her role. This was like, did they even change her outfit from what's
And Annihilation.
yeah, Annihilation?
No.
Well, also like weirdly, or just kind of interestingly similar plot in some ways to Existence, just with the
Well,
virtual
yeah,
reality
totally.
world and stuff
Which
like
is
that.
yeah, of the father.
Which she's also in, of course.
Yes, yeah. But so Jennifer Jason Leigh plays the handler. She's kind of the boss at this hitman firm. Tasia is the hit person, and she puts her into the body of other people, which allows her to get close to them. And we really only see this. The film opens with her murdering. I think they say it's sort of like a rich lawyer in a pretty wild scene. And she inhabits the body of this woman who's a server or somehow working at the restaurant that this guy's at, and that's how she gets close to him. The rest of the film centers on this plot where the firm has been contracted by the son of this guy, played by Sean Bean, who runs this technology firm, sort of like a Google
It's a mining. It's a data
Data
mining.
mining.
They say data mining is what they do, but there are like consumer applications that they're like talking about. It's a little, it's not super specific, but basically they're like a powerful technology company. The son hires this firm to kill the father so that he can essentially like take over the firm. And there's this plot that they have to use someone close to the father so that he's going to be able to get close. So they have to kidnap that person, implant the thing, yada yada. And I mean, the film is really then about this Tasia who's inhabiting this other person's body. I'm trying to find what's the Christopher Abbott
Hmm.
is the actor, and so he becomes Christopher Abbott. His name's Colin Tate in the film. He becomes the sort of main character, but it's with Tasia sort of inhabiting him, possessing his body, and it becomes like a how is he going to get to the father, and the sort of struggle that Tasia is having is she like losing control of herself and and therefore the subject while trying to complete this murder.
There's a battle for control
Yes,
the
I would say
of-
she's having a battle before she even goes into.
Yeah.
of the handsome
Possession.
guy. Who
Well, I mean,
control?
because Jennifer Jason Leigh basically like anytime they quote unquote come out of a host, they have to have a reassessment of whether or not they are them again. And she starts showing some weird signs. So like we already know going into it that like she's unstable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who controls the handsome guy, John? That's at the root of this movie. All right, CC. What did you think?
I was super stoked to watch this. Ever since I had seen the trailer the first time. So yeah, I was stoked going into it. I will say that I definitely like Brandon Cronenberg better than David Cronenberg. And I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
No, we can't be friends now.
Whew.
I will say that I appreciate how Brandon is basically like doing what his dad, like building on what his dad did. You know, like I don't feel like he's trying to be his dad. I don't think that like it's an homage to his father's work. Like I liked that, like, yes, you can see that he obviously learned from him and is inspired by him, but like it's still very much still very much his own take on that whole situation. I mean, obviously there's still a lot of visceral bodily horror, which is very, very intense in this film. But I overall, like, I thought the plot was really good. I don't know what I was really supposed to like glean from it in terms of like, do I just hate all technology? Like, I thought that's what we were already doing, so I'm not really sure. But outside of that, like visually, this movie is phenomenal. I mean, the like transition scenes where you have, the Voss character taking over what's Christopher Abbott's name, Tate, the Tate character, like this whole like battle for like the control of the psyche and just kind of the like melding of minds and stuff is, I mean, quite literally a mind fuck. Like it's crazy, but it's so well done that you really don't need more of a plot to understand what's happening. So I really liked that, and on top of it, I thought all of the actors were phenomenal. I mean, this is a movie that takes a lot of nuance and a lot of very like physical acting, and like Andrea, whatever her last name is, and Christopher Abbott were, I mean, you see Voss, Andrea's character, like practicing being somebody else, and then actually seeing like that person be her pretending to be them is wild, but really cool. So overall, I liked it a lot, although it did give me a headache when I finished. I still liked it, but I was like, I kind of have a headache now.
Jojo.
Oof. This just is not my thing. I didn't realize that this is the same fellow that directed Antiviral until you guys. Yeah, I mean,
At least Caleb Landry Jones wasn't in it, Joe.
That's true.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess if I had known that, I would have figured what I was getting into. I think we talked about the last week when we were trying to pick the next movie, and I could have sworn someone said that this was like super scary, and now I realize it was probably John talking about something else. So like, I had kind of set this up. Leslie and I watched it today. I had set this up as like, yeah, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be good. And we got, I want to say like 3 hours in, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it, it really dragged for me. Like, it starts off with a little bit of a kick, and then you just kind of get Inception for the next, hour and 75 minutes or so, which, it looked great. I understand why someone like John would like this, because like this is like the most John movie I think we've watched in a while. So
Definitely a while. I think I would agree with that.
I mean, it came from the loins of a Cronenberg. Of course, John likes it.
Yeah, like this definitely harkens back to the days of like when I was early on the show and just like angry about everything. Leslie and I want to say about an hour in, Leslie leans over. She's like, I don't like whoever suggested you watch this movie.
All right, Casey.
I ended up loving this movie, and I watched the trailer once, so I had an idea what we're in for, and I kept myself away from the hype going into it, just because I like Brandon Cronenberg. I liked the trailer. I didn't really want much more spoiled, and it worked out really well. I thought it was great. The two things that stand out for me, one, the art direction on this movie is just fucking phenomenal. Pardon my French. Everything from like the title sequences to the way it looks, the sequences jumping in between, like Cece had talked about, the setting of this city, the near future city that we're in, and their kind of scary tech future is really well thought out and put together and everything. I thought all that was striking, and I thought the writing was super good too, because this movie's the concept is complicated, but he wrote it to where it's pretty easy to follow despite all the crazy stuff that's going on in this movie. I never had a moment in this movie where I thought, what the hell's going on? For me, I was able to keep up with it, and I thought that was pretty impressive for as convoluted of a concept this was.
John.
Yeah, I mean, look, like you all have been setting me up, I feel like, too hard around the Cronenberg stuff. I was super excited to watch this thing. I really liked Antiviral, but I don't remember thinking it was like some revelation. I like came away thinking this was like a much stronger film, or at least that's sort of just based on my, like, I actually want to go back now and check out Antiviral.
It's a huge, I mean, Antiviral is good, but this is a huge leap.
Yeah. This just felt like a very sort of like mature film. So like Joe referenced Inception. To me, this is much more like the Alex Garland. I mean, Ex Machina is like a pretty close comp here, just in terms of like, you all mentioned sort of the art direction, and it is art housey. It's like a very much like an art film in a lot of ways, but it's also a genre film, and it's got like gory shit going on. It's not super well explained at all times, but as Casey said, it's not I actually would say that the plot is like pretty elegantly simple. Like, you have technology that allows you to inhabit people, which makes it easy to kill them. And from there, it's basically sort of, an espionage thriller. Yeah, I mean,
even
like horror elements.
Even when the visuals are trippy, it's pretty easy to follow what's happening.
Yeah. It is not, but when I say it's like, and to be fair to Joe, like, it's not a horror movie. It's a horror movie like Ex Machina is a horror movie, or Annihilation is a horror movie. It's not, a straight up, straight horror genre thing. I mean, like, all that said, like, so I really, really like this. I think in a year where we've seen like not a ton of films where I can like really pump my fist and be like, this is great, I want to champion this movie, this is one that I would put on the list. It's not like the best movie I've ever seen. There's that, like a lot of Cronenberg films, like that's almost not the point. Like in some ways, like the warts are as interesting as the things that you love about something. But so I don't know. I mean, the plot, look, like if you want to poke holes in the plot, like there's things to poke holes at. Sure. It's as with any sci-fi movie, but I think that again, it's
here's my biggest question about the plot. Does everybody not know about this service? Because couldn't like anybody just hire this? Like, how do you find out?
Are they the only ones that have this technology? Because like, why isn't everybody wandering around like in different people's bodies?
Right.
I'm guessing you got to be rich enough to know.
Yeah.
Usually, the staple for that is you got to be rich enough to know it exists.
Well, right,
Well,
but
I mean,
he's in a family
yeah.
full of a bunch of other rich people that would theoretically be able to know.
But like,
this.
wouldn't
That's true.
police also be able to solve these crimes because they would find these dead people, and
Yeah.
Well,
we
they
can get
did.
into,
They
like, the
did say
details about how
the.
they have to kill themselves.
They
but-
did say the implants dissolve.
Yeah, but it's like I don't know.
5 days or something. They said,
Yeah,
right?
It's,
Like it's
you
not
know, it's technology, John. I don't know. It's
You would
science.
have like a scar in your head. I mean, but
things.
It's a huge
things can
leap,
happen.
John, from seeing a scar in someone's head to being like, well, they must be being controlled by a virtual reality assassin.
well,
I mean,
and
at a certain point, there'd be like bootleg versions of this, like floating around, right? Like,
well, and again, like people would know that it was happening, that it was a possibility. No, I think what I liked is that they give you enough to hang on to. Like, so the story about how Christopher Abbott's character, Tate, is going to get access to Sean Bean, like it makes sense. Like there's, you've got the brother, you've got the like the sort of druggy girlfriend, the boy he plays. Christopher Tate's character is like the boyfriend, or Christopher Abbott's character is the boyfriend that the father hates but like tolerates. So like he's already kind of black sheep. It's not
Dude,
cra-
Sean Bean is so good at being a prick. It's unreal.
He
So
really
good.
He made
he's
me
only in
angry.
this movie for 5 minutes.
I know.
But
And he
it's
gets
so good.
killed.
So yeah, I'm with everybody except Joe on this one. No, I love this movie. It's really visually stunning. It's one of those movies where you can tell everything is so meticulously framed and planned out ahead of time. It's very tense. I think there's this. It is actually, to me, this whole sequence with the weird face wearing situation is
dude.
like one of the creepiest things I've seen all year. It's like
Yeah.
real messed up,
Mm.
especially when it gets to the point where he's got her face on and starts flashing into scenes of her life with the face on. Like that's no, thank you. I don't want to see that again. But like really great cast, super tense. It's got a great kind of like thrill ride vibe to it. I love. For me, a lot of the fun is watching. What's the guy's name, John? The guy who's possessed.
Christopher Abbott, Tate, I
Like
think is the
his
character.
acting, because essentially what we're looking at there is his physical body with the woman assassin inside of it, and right. So he's doing a lot. He's trying to like. He is acting as if someone else who is not him is controlling his body. A, B, trying to keep control of his body, right? So there's like a struggle aspect to it. And there, to me, is like a lot of tension in these scenes where he's trying to figure out how to act normal, like with his girlfriend or wife or whatever, and she keeps making comments about how weird he is. And what I love about it, and Cece kind of touched on this, is you see where he takes all the influences from his father, right? There's a lot of like mixing of flesh and tech, like, and a lot of that influence. Like I love how the little face VR mask thing almost looked like a bug or something. Like it had a
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
weird, surreal view to it. But like there is a lot of this that kind of reminds me of Existence, but it's sort of cleaner. It's a little more polished. It's just kind of like, this is very, I mean, you can make an argument it's an art house film, but it's very easy to follow to me. It's not like my bar for that is always David Lynch. Like I really am not a big David Lynch fan because I think he intentionally does shit that doesn't make sense and to seem smart. No,
Yeah.
like if someone tells you they understand a David Lynch film, they're fucking lying. Don't trust them.
No,
But, like-
it's unclear that he understands exactly what's going on in those.
Yeah.
Well,
movies,
no, but I think he gives the audience like plenty to understand the basics of what is happening.
oh yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
you
Here.
never get more than a moment or two where you're really like, wow, what's going on here? Like he gives you answers. You know, there's not a lot of like larger meaning to whatever is going on. It's really, you're just watching this scenario play out, right? Like there's not a lot of lessons or arcs or anything. You know, you're not getting a traditional main character with this assassin. She's not really learning anything. It's just kind of like, here's her mission. Can she do it? And I think there's a ton of tension that they wring out of that. And along the way, it's just really, it looks really great. It's just a pretty visually stunning movie. I like it.
Agree.
Eh.
So let's move on, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a counterpoint to anything you guys are saying. Like, I agree for the most part. I think it's just one. I don't think I agree that this is a horror movie, and like in the back of my head, I'm like, why are we watching this?
I mean, mean, that's fair. I guess it's like, but you can kind of say that about. There's a lot of stuff that's on the line.
No, I totally get it. Like we've watched a ton of movies that don't really fall into like the horror category. I think, and again, like it probably just goes back to my own setup. Like this is not what I was expecting. But as soon as we got into it and I saw Cronenberg, I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. Like,
I don't know, Joe. I would expect new Joe to be into this, like, you know, refined 2020 Joe. You know, he likes subtitles and
I
drinks
think if
wine.
it was good, I would have been. But the problem is,
I was genuinely surprised at how hot you came in against.
yeah, I mean, to me, it boils a lot down to what you just said, Eric, where there really isn't much of an arc, right? Like we just kind of watch them go through the paces here, and I agree visually, it's interesting, but I would argue it's not as like mind blowing as you guys might be making it seem. Like there's just a lot of bright colors, and you know the last 30 minutes I'll 100% give you. Like it gets very Cronenbergy at that point, and like that did kind of pique my interest. I think it's just getting there felt a little bit just.
Dude, everything like from the party on is fucking brilliant. And you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the game, John, like the modern iterations of Hitman.
Oh, the game hit me.
Yeah, because that's basically what it is, right? Is like she's sort of dressed as another person, trying to like get into this function and pretend to be that person, and then like kill certain people and get out. And I loved like there's so much tension in that scene where I think it's Jennifer Jason Leigh tells her start a visible fight with the daughter and Sean Bean so that people see you guys, right? Because the whole idea is that she's in control. This guy is going to make his body murder his girlfriend and girlfriend's father so that the other one can take, like, you kind of explain it, but I'm saying like
no one will
the idea is that
think
you don't want people to be suspicious, so you need people to see the fight. I love that. And then I don't know if to say he or she, and it's 2020, John, and I don't want to screw this up, but it's a little confusing. Good one, Casey. Good one, Casey. So anyway, they together get kicked out of the party, and like that whole scene, but then like when he resurfaces back in the house and is just straight up murder style, and that scene is fucking crazy. Like when he confronts Sean Bean and Sean Bean is hammered, there's so much like character acting tension in that scene. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I wanted really quick on Joe's point. Like the movie it's a psychological thriller, right? So like again, putting aside the question of like is it hard or not, but and so I think a lot of the choices that he's making around the art direction are trying to put you in that brain space. Yeah. And look, like if you're saying it didn't work for you, like totally fine. But I was on board, and I think it's not so over the top. I love that it was also contrasted with just, I mean, some of the other shot selection and direction choice. Like, there's a couple of scenes of this like housing development. They're not. I mean, it's basically like what are they called? Not row homes, but I guess, you know, in any event, they're like the houses. No, whatever.
Oh, I mean, that she lives in. I mean, they're fine houses.
No, they are. I'm just trying to. The name is not coming to me. Like
townhouses, Joe.
Townhouses, exactly. Thank you, Joe. Okay, but they show it several times. They show her standing. Like it's very sort of like architectural. There's a couple of those kind of very clean. I don't know. Modernist isn't really the right term, but the way those shots are structured, and then you cut to these much, you know, less structured, you know, scene setups and the colors and all the, you know, it's disorienting intentionally.
Even the way he shot like the zoo through the big data mining company, when he shot the outsides of that, and then you saw the contrast of how shiny and modern it was and bright colors, then you got it inside and it was all 1984 looking with giant concrete hallways.
Did anyone figure out what that job was?
Yeah. So he was basically and we didn't even talk about that because that actually was one of the most fucked up parts of this movie.
Is the two people are banging.
Basically,
confused.
This company that Sean Bean owns, they are just capturing tons of video data. It seems like from sort of like Nest cams and shit like that that people have in their homes. But what they're doing is they then have people watching them. It's basically like Mechanical Turk type folks who are watching the video, and they have to catalog what's in the video. And so they sit down. It's actually really relevant to like sort of Facebook moderators. You know, these people who have to like
Yeah.
just sit and look at shit and decide if it's
And like
too
super
graphic or
messed up
not.
stuff sometimes too.
Yeah. And so they like sit there, and this is Christopher Abbott, because so all we know about him is he was like a drug dealer. That's how he got to know Sean Bean's daughter. This is his like reclamation project, as the dad has given him this basically like entry level super shitty job at this company.
But
As
do you
Casey
think
said,
do you think he's like teaching AI to recognize
Yes,
things? Is
that's
that what's
exactly what
happening?
they're-
Oh,
yeah,
okay, I
yeah.
gotcha.
So
Mm,
they're
all
he's,
right.
like,
Are they
cataloging
spying
data
on
and training.
people, or is this existing? Like that part I
No,
didn't
it's
understand.
basically like Nest cams is what
Yeah.
I
So
assume. But
yes, then.
it's not. I mean, it's
Yeah,
spying if you
slippery
think
slope,
that like
Schnars. Careful here, buddy.
I mean, it is. I mean, it's basically how like Alexa records everything.
Yeah.
It's just how, I mean, because one of her friends talks about like, well, I jerk off in front of my camera every night because I know they're watching. So it's like,
Yeah, that's
you
true.
have
That's true.
this
They
in your
do.
house knowing that they're listening or
Yeah,
watching.
you're right.
the
They
guy's
do
like,
like.
yeah, we know what brand of dildo you use. Like, you
Yeah.
can move on now.
But yeah, they do explicitly call it out. You're right, Cece. So they do kind of. I just like that scene was so confusing. I had trouble like tying
Yeah.
it to the
No,
that other
but Casey,
conversation.
I've reminded me because I had sort of forgotten like the way that it's basically it's like data mining is like what the company does, but he's like going into an actual mine. Like it's like a very grim looking space. He sits down at this desk. It's just a row of desks. He
And
puts
they're
on
literally shoulder to shoulder.
yeah, and he
yeah.
puts on the like this helmet. It's in one of the
And then he's in a virtual
stills.
office with like windows.
Yeah, but he's seeing. I mean, one of the things he sees is just these two people going to town, and
It was
it's
beautiful. They were
well,
in love.
and the computer's like, please identify the curtains, and then he's watching them have sex, and he gets like a voice command, or his like manager basically being like,
It's taking too long.
yeah, you've looked at this video too long, like move on, like find the curtains, please.
You don't see a lot of oral sex in movies, and I appreciated that. Like usually,
Is that
it's
what
just
happened?
straight
I don't
up,
remember.
like missionary, but like you never see a guy going down like that.
It
like,
felt very
often.
organic, though.
It
you know?
felt real. It felt like these people really do love each other, and he's really trying to please her.
Okay.
It felt like they were really spying on two people.
Yeah. So I perked up at that part.
Oh man.
Well, you are
If there
a
was
you
more
are a lover, Joe.
cunnilingus in this movie, I think I would have been into it.
For sure. I mean, that's true. Most movies, right?
We
can't-
watched Santa Paws after.
It can't
Had the
hurt.
same complaint.
Exactly.
Oh Lord.
Should we talk about the fact that this lady like really loves to murder?
Yeah, like
Well,
I
violently.
think that
I
was
think
like a
that's-
side plot, right?
Well, yeah, but that's kind of what she essentially doesn't like. It's a commentary on her not having a conscience herself, like because at the very very beginning when she's kind of going through this reacclimation process after she kills the first person we see, Jennifer Jason Leigh is sitting there having her like go through all of these items that she has, and she's supposed to like say, yes, this is mine. I don't, no, that's not mine. Yes, this is mine, and yada yada about it. And then there's a point where she's looking at the butterfly and she's like, yes, this is mine. I felt really guilty when I was a kid and I killed it, and I still kind of feel guilty about it. And then at the end, when she's reacclimated again after killing this the Tate character, she looks at this and she's like, yes, this is mine. And that's all she says. So like Jennifer Jason Leigh's like succeeded in totally like erasing her consciousness of caring about killing people. So it's kind of like that's her special skill.
I took it as more of a commentary on how the technology was changing her and wearing her down from doing this process, more so than like Jennifer Jason Leigh necessarily trying to erase her consciousness.
I mean,
because I took that as that's why she was starting to have the problems and the freakouts she was having, and like the abnormalities once she got into Tate's body, because her mind's not up to it anymore.
But she also seemed to really want to get there though, like because she has the moment of weakness, and then she calls her back the next day. He's like, you know what, I'm ready. I'm in for this. Like,
she just likes doing it. So like Jennifer Jason Leigh sees that in her as a like not a flaw, but like a character. Like Jennifer Jason Leigh wants her to like take over her role. So like it's just something she sees in her that's like, this is great for the business. So I'm going to utilize it to what I need.
Yeah, because the other thing was more that she was losing touch with her own sense of self. And
Well, right, because you
that-
go into somebody, yeah, it's like severing
Yeah.
your own connection to your identity, which is
And-
why they need to try to like ground her when she gets out.
Yeah, well, but part of that is like once you've lost your sense of self, like you're also losing your sense of reality. You're losing your
Right.
sense of morality. I mean, I think we're all sort of saying the same thing, but it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's.
But
it's
I
a
mean,
little
like-
more
really
fun.
well. They
Yeah.
framed it and presented it really well too, because we had that nice. We opened up after one of her missions, and then we got to see her reclamation process, and they had Jennifer Jason Leigh, like voice some of the concerns. But then you see stuff. Then I thought that scene when they first sent her, when she first went home to her ex-husband and her son, and she had to stand outside and psych herself up and practice what she was going to say, kind of like what Cece was saying earlier when she's getting ready to go on a mission and she's studying those people. She had to put herself physically back into that state to go home and be mom.
Yeah. Who was joking, Casey? I think it was you joking about the amount of vape usage in this.
Yeah.
like
Oh.
it was like
a lot of vaping.
vape ad.
They
I
picked
don't know.
like
I know,
vapes
that's-
that are supposed to look like Fuchsia, but really they're just kind of like cheesy looking. Like you could get that
Yeah.
today.
Yeah,
Like-
you could get that
yeah.
easy. But I mean, there's so much vaping in this movie where I had to make a point and say, "Jesus Christ, there's a lot of vaping in this movie."
I was like, oh yeah.
It felt,
So
it felt
much.
excessive. I was confused about like the time period of like where the hell this is happening.
Well, I think that's intentional. I think it's intentionally so not out of time, but it is not. We're not given like a ton to anchor us around a specific time. And then similarly with place, like I mean, so the Cronenbergs are Canadian. Again, I kept thinking this was like in the UK, but now I'm thinking maybe it's like I don't know Toronto or like some other Canadians. It wasn't New York, you know. I mean, it wasn't. And they had like a more worldly feel. Like a lot of the actors are Canadian or British, so I don't know.
Cool.
But yeah. Do we want to talk about like there's like a thing that happened at the very end of this that I was like pretty surprised about. I think you guys may know what I'm talking about. We have not touched on.
Go ahead. Well, I
Yes.
mean, no, I don't think a lot of people have seen this, so I don't know how much we should like.
Well, yeah, like I mean, all right, we don't really need to spoil it. I will say the like climax of this has
Oh.
like the Jesus Christ,
Mm.
you're worse than Joe.
I take offense.
You triggered me,
like,
John.
there's-
Sorry.
Like the film is violent. There was still a thing that happened that I was kind of like not taken aback by, but I was still surprised at like where it went from a violence standpoint. If that
Well, I
makes-
think we're talking spoilers now, John. Which
Okay.
one are you talking about? When like she actually kills the father?
well,
You mean the
yeah,
husband,
well, really
the husband.
that
The
scene,
husband.
son
yes.
when she kills the son.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Which
Uh,
I thought was a perfect ending. The coda
Yeah.
for this, just for the feel of this movie. Then you get to that, and that was like a gut punch, which we don't get a
Oh,
lot.
no, it's super grim. Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
you're just like
But
oh.
we have to talk about the fact that Jennifer Jason Leigh was in her son's body.
No, well that's like that
So,
that
like,
whole reveal was
Yeah,
crazy.
you're just like at first you're like, oh my god, like that's heartbreaking, and then it's even more heartbreaking when you realize that Jennifer Jason Leigh did it knowing that she would kill him.
Yeah.
As
It's
soon as
just
you hear
like,
the
oh,
kids say
God.
"pull me out," because they did
Yeah.
a good job of setting that signal up, and as soon as
Yeah.
the kids said "pull me out," you're like, "Oh shit!"
So,
Yeah.
so
And
spoiler
I love
alert.
Jennifer Jason Leigh, but something has happened in the last like 10 or 15 years where like the moment she walks on camera, I know I'm not going to smile for the next 2 hours. Like it's
I
just
mean,
gonna
she
be
does.
like-
She does play very like severe, like emotionally detached
Yeah.
characters a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, she's awesome.
Like,
Like,
that's-
I don't
that
want to
is-
make it sound like she's not, but it's definitely like, all right, I know what I'm getting into.
That
Joe,
is like.
you liked Hateful Eight though, did you? Like that was a
Oh, I
my
didn't-
God, she's
that was a
amazing.
great-
I
Yeah.
didn't know she was in
Yeah.
that. I didn't know she was in that. I haven't seen it.
yeah. She I mean
Yeah,
Even
whatever.
she's the
then,
fucking
though-
badass. Yeah.
She's like the
yeah,
main
but like
character, yeah.
she gets the like crap kicked out of her, and you're
Yeah.
just like, oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
she has not been in like a lighthearted romp since Fast Times in Ridgemont High. I think.
Got her
And
fill.
even that, she got an abortion in that, right?
Yeah.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Spoiler alert, Jesus, Joe.
She's a
I mean,
complex
not that
actress.
there's anything
John.
wrong with that. You know, her body,
Yeah.
her choice. But
Right, but I mean, it's you know,
It's
She
like
was
a-
in
She's seen some shit.
she was
That's
in
what I'm saying.
Weeds. She was in Weeds. That's
Yeah.
amusing.
She was in that new show on Netflix too, that with Michael Rappaport with the son who has autism, and I can't think of the name
but-
right now. It's been
John in Weeds.
Yeah, atypical.
John in Weeds, she plays a real downer character though.
Yeah.
Really? I've
Yeah.
I've seen like 2 seasons of it, but I couldn't remember. So
You still getting through that one, Jim?
we're gonna go back to it.
We're still trying to knock that one out. DVR is full.
Yeah.
I feel like it's hard because I went back and watched a little bit of Weeds recently. I feel like it's hard to go back and revisit any show that came out in Obama's first term because it just seems like another like fairy tale land. Like what is this? This doesn't even exist anymore.
It's true.
Everyone's so wide-eyed and hopeful.
Maybe we'll get back there in the next 4 years.
Sure thing, buddy. Hold on to that one.
Yo, you can check in with us from Indiana and let us know how it's going.
Ooh.
We
Fucking
birthed
sick
Pence,
burn,
so I
dude.
apologize in advance.
I don't think he was birthed. All right. Should we wrap this up or we
Yeah,
good?
sure, dude. Joe, I know you're gonna hate this, but I'm gonna need my top 10 list, buddy.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, I've got it right in front of me. Click, click, click,
Beep,
click,
boop, beep,
click,
boop.
type.
All right, would you recommend this, Cece?
Yes.
Joe.
No, it's not. If you're like me, don't bother.
Casey.
Absolutely.
John.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say hell yeah. I mean that people who've listened to the show long enough, Joe, they know who they are. Like they know if
Yeah,
they're a Joe
exactly.
or a John or
Yeah.
whatever. So that's
You're either me or you're one of the whatevers.
Okay. All right, guys, it is time. Let's take a quick break and do some fan mail.
New Line Cinema sadly mourns the passing of a screen legend. After 13... New Line...
He's a man obsessed with having the perfect family.
I'll do anything I can do to keep my family together.
But his obsession hides a deadly secret.
Never talk about your past.
We don't have a single lead. The guy is smart. We won't have anything to go on unless he does it again.
All we need is a martyr around here.
Shelley Hackett and Terry O'Quinn
You're a very bad girl.
in a thrilling tale of suspense. The Stepfather.
Tuesday at 8 on KST Washington.
Hi, this is Doc Broccoli Pinhead from the Hellraiser movies, welcoming you to Bloody Good Horror.
Send feedback to info@bloodygoodhorror.com or on Twitter using hashtag AskBGH. Join Patreon to get back episodes and much more. Patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror.
And we're back. Mr. Joe,
Yeah.
can we please look at my top 10 list, buddy?
Yeah, I got it in front of me.
Uh,
Sucker Proxy, I think, was the last time that
Hudsucker
Jennifer Jason Leigh was anything lighthearted.
Joe, this is my number one right now of 2020. What do we got what's at 10 right now?
At 10 is Gretel and Hansel.
Oh, I like that. What's 9?
I'll just go from the bottom up. Gretel and Hansel, Underwater, VFW, Becky.
Oh, Boot Becky.
Come to yeah.
Kick Becky. Yeah.
Boot Becky, and then just move everything else down.
Adjust. Thanks, buddy.
You got it, buddy.
info@bloodygoodhorror.com is the email address. We just got one email, John, and it's from one of our own people, so I don't know if that counts. But Andy emailed us in with a dispatch from bloodygoodhorror.com. Natalie's latest Primal Scream article discusses personality disorders in Sean Burns' The Loved Ones. That's us. Speaking of lighthearted things, anyone with the post-Halloween blues can check out a special edition of In Extremis in which Adam discusses parental neglect in It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Adam really bringing the feels too. He's always upbeat. And lastly, Luke has a review of Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead's latest film, Synchronic. John, have you seen a trailer for Synchronic? It looks kind of amazing.
Well, so those are the guys with the Endless and what's their other thing? Did they do? Spring. Is
They
that
did
those
Spring,
guys?
and is it called like Eternal or something like that?
I thought it was called The Endless.
The Endless, yeah. Where they go back to
Uh,
visit the cult that they escaped or some shit.
Yeah, Synchronic. All right, I'm pulling this up. No, I have not seen this
No,
trailer.
it looks.
I'll watch it later.
It looks very cool. I'm pretty excited about that. I wonder what Luke gave it. You have to go to bloodygoodhorror.com and check it out.
There you go.
Joe, what else we got going on? We episode 600 is coming up.
Yep.
And I'm working on another clip show. So get excited for that. And the other thing, Joe, is medals, right? For people who ran the 5K.
The 5K and 10K medals have been ordered. They're just taking a long time to get shipped because of, things going on in the world. So once I get them, they're going to sit in quarantine for about 3 days because I'm not touching any of my mail. And then they'll slowly start to get out. So I haven't forgotten about you guys. They are definitely on their way. And I should say from our last gathering for the patrons, prizes for the costume contest and trivia have been shipped out also.
Look at that.
Yeah, the BGH offices were aflutter with activity this week.
I love it. All right, Joe. Yeah. Speaking of a flutter, what do we got on Twitter?
We are. Well, I should say first. Did you guys see Possessor Uncut? I think is the actual title of this now. IMDb says that Possessor was the original title, and they've changed it for some reason.
Yeah, it was. I was trying to read about that while we were on, and it sounds like they released it. They felt like they had to release a different version in the U.S. because they wanted to get an R rating. It's unclear to me if what we watched was.
It was
Possessor Uncut
pretty
or just
gory,
regular.
dude. That like Sean Bean scene with the head was like real.
It was pretty grim.
A lot.
And the timestamp, it was like an hour and 43, which is what IMDb lists what Joe's referencing as. So I just feel like it must have been the same thing.
Yeah. Anyway, we're on Twitter at BG Horror. Every week we post up, and you can send in your questions with the hashtag AskBGH. And we got a gaggle. First, 3 from Chupacabro7. That's Todd. And this is from a few days back. So who won the election? I keep waiting to hear you call it, but you aren't even discussing it. I turn to you for all my news. Am I misguided or something?
Wait, was that one question, or are there 2 more? Do you want to read them all 3?
Yeah, there's 2 other tweets that aren't related to the election.
Oh,
so.
right. I don't know. I watched election coverage for one day and then went back in my hole because I knew exactly what was going to happen, and I was right.
No, we should have a blanket. Like, we're not going to answer any election tweets.
Well, we're done then, John. Next one, same fella. Also, I need a pog necklace. Eric, do you have any suggestions of where I can get one?
I sure do. If you're gonna replicate 10-year-old Eric's pog necklace, you're gonna need a pog and a string. And I don't know, like a punch, and then you punch a hole in it.
You had one pog on a necklace?
Yeah, it was cool,
what
dude.
The fuck?
I can't expect him to wear all his pogs on a necklace.
Thank you, Casey. It was just one I liked a lot.
I just don't understand. Like, was it through the middle of the pog, or was it at
the top?
What was the pog? What was the one that was so special that it?
I don't remember. I bet you Mark would know. He always remembers. Mark remembers that shit because he likes to make fun of me for it. I probably had my dad do it. I don't know.
Huh.
They were cardboard, so it's not like it's impossible.
Listen, John. Yes, thank you, Casey. First of all,
I know.
Second of all, I like to express myself as a kid. John, do you have a problem with
that? With pogs?
Yeah, man.
In pog form.
In pog form.
In pog form. Oh, he's back.
You know.
Yeah.
All right, I get that. And then last but not least from Chupacabro, his third one. Hey, Night of the Living podcast. I'm worried about the coming feud between you and BGH over whether or not it's okay to put cinnamon and spaghetti in your chili. Should I be worried about the impending horror movie podcast war? Hashtag Skyline Chili.
I knew I was going to rile up a couple of nutters with that Skyline comment, but I stand by it because Jesus Christ, dude, look at what you're eating.
I mean, I think we should separate these. When Leslie and I make chili, we do put a little cinnamon in there. But spaghetti, lumping cinnamon and spaghetti together as
also, Joe, I don't know. You should Google this because what they put on that spaghetti, I would not call chili. I would call it like dog food.
It's very like soupy. Yeah. No, I'm familiar. We've actually because whenever we take long trips, we usually go through Ohio. So
it's like loose meat kind of. It was like the bad. Like it looks nothing like chili. The chili that I know, Joe.
All
well,
I
here's
can
the
say,
other, sorry, one quick thing. I have a lot of problems with Ohio in general.
Yeah, same.
But their definition of chili seems to be very, very loose.
That's what I'm saying.
I've had times in the past where I've had Skyline chili and didn't mind it. On a weekend adventure with Freddie from Night of the Living podcast, and he made some kind of dip with Skyline chili, and it hurt my insides, and I will never see it again.
Well, there you have it. Didn't mind it.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, next up from Fusilitoro. If you had supernatural powers, why would you still be going to high school?
Shits, man.
What?
Okay.
What is Cece, you're on mute, I think.
I'm not. I'm confused.
I
about
see
what
your
this is a
mouth
reference
moving.
to.
But...
I was wondering why no one laughed when I said that Loose Meat was my college band name. And I didn't know that.
No,
yeah. Crazy laugh on that one. Sorry.
Well, I have had a loose meat sandwich because Illinois, Roseanne famously worked at a loose meat counter, and down in our glorious capital, I have had loose meat sandwiches. Completely different.
I know nothing about
chili
loose
dog.
meat
You can
except
have a
for
solid
those
sandwich there.
2 seasons of Roseanne when they ran that place, and that's all I know about it.
Can we get back to figuring out what the hell this tweet is referencing?
I have no fucking.
Yeah. If you had supernatural powers, why would you still be going to high school? Maybe it's
The
just
craft?
in general, like.
Oh yeah, it must have been
Oh, there you go.
I was about to say it was whatever movie we did last week. I don't know what else are you gonna do with your time.
Yeah, like what if your powers go away? Like, don't you kind of need a backup?
Yeah, you still need an education, buddy.
That
I
would
don't
be
understand
figured-
like history, right?
Now that we figured out that it's about the craft, I'll change my answer to dudes, man.
Yeah, there you go.
Figured.
Well, you know,
Good save, Casey.
I'm not gonna. I don't know about that, but. All right, Skizbot says, "You guys ever do a live stream? That's what I call it when I'm on the phone call and forget to press mute before going into the bathroom to pee."
Nice.
Lord.
I know.
So
hard
paranoid about that.
I know several
Yeah.
people who've had that happen to the people who had like mic packs on and forgot, and then went to take a dump.
Here you go, John. It's your old buddy C.O.W. Flanagan.
Nice.
For fuck's sake.
He's back.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer talk. That politician that helped kill old Donnie likes Spike over Angel. Where does the BGH nerd crew fall on who is better for Buffy, Spike or Angel? I think Spike would pound that mound all day.
Oh
All
God!
day. Much love.
No, thank you.
I mean, I do prefer Spike, so I'm with Stacey Abrams when she said that.
Cece, who do you think would pound that mound all day?
Totally Spike. I mean, Angel, like,
Yeah.
would probably cry about it.
Yeah, he whines a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, that makes sense. I've never seen an episode of that show.
I wasn't clear. I know who Angel is because he had his own show, didn't he? Like a spin-off show.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure who the politician he was referencing was. I thought it was Joe Biden. I was like, Joe Biden had an opinion.
No,
about
I
Buffy the
assume.
Vampire?
No,
Because
Stacey Abrams. Yeah.
all over.
Well, 'cause she's like, doesn't she like write fiction under pen? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, she has a pseudonym for romance novels.
I had no idea. I learned something today.
All right, Robel, how often do you cut your toenails?
2 weeks,
Yeah,
3
I don't know
weeks.
if I have
Maybe?
a
I don't know.
schedule.
Every couple weeks, yeah.
I keep them tidy because of the running. I don't know, Joe, if you
Yeah. I one marathon I lost a couple, and ever since then, like I definitely.
Yeah, you just don't want to have to worry about it. You got to keep it.
Yeah.
That's gross, dude. Like, I have so many questions and I don't want to ask any of them.
Yeah.
Your feet are fucking pounding around down
Like
there. It's
what? I'm gonna do it. What happens after? Like, do they grow back? Like, what is that process?
Eventually grows back.
Like,
yeah.
from where? Like, from the. How do they grow back?
From the base.
Yeah, from underneath your skin.
So then you
From
just got like a
underneath
little.
Where they grow when
little
they grow longer.
so then
it
you got like
grows
a
from the
little.
same place.
You got a little tiny shrimpy nail and it just slowly gets
Mhm.
bigger.
Where do
fucking-
toenails come from?
That's fucking wild, dude.
Like it was like months before I had mine back.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I never had a full like lose one, but I've had them just get a little gnarly. And,
Yeah, ever since then I've been, and I also wear like on longer runs, like those socks with the toes, and then actual socks on top of those.
Oh,
That's a lot. I haven't lost any nails when I was running. I had some turn black and blue though.
It's traumatic.
I'm disgusted by this entire conversation.
Yeah, well, you blame Robel, I guess.
Yeah.
Last but not least, for Twitter, Skizbot comes in again with, I have $60 in Amazon credit. What should I buy myself?
Air fryer. Boom. Done.
Yep. Done.
There you go.
They're only $60.
Mine was
that price.
Mine was 30, Joe.
Plus, we're getting into holiday season, so they're going to be marked down.
Oh yeah, that's definite. They'll be on sale like crazy. I just pre-ordered Hyrule Warriors for Switch, which is on sale for $59.99.
$60 will buy a video game.
There you go.
Yeah.
Video game.
Do you have to work from home on your computer? I just bought a fancy lap desk so I could sit in my recliner and work, and it's pretty nice. And you can get it for under $50.
That sounds
and
dangerous.
it comes with a USB light.
That sounds dangerous.
$10 to spare.
Yeah.
Casey, why don't you just get one of those desks where you're laying down and all the monitors are like suspended above your head? That's
because I fall asleep.
You're not gonna fall asleep in the recliner.
No.
Okay.
Less chances that way. If you get me horizontal though, I'm goner.
That's what she said. All right, let's jump over to the Insta tweets. We are on Instagram at Bloody Good Horror. Full name. Every Tuesday, we post up. You can send in your questions. I'll make dumb comments.
There's a couple good ones this week.
First one. Fuck, marry, kill. In the Kitchen with David. David from In the Kitchen, David. The Property Brothers, both. Or Kurt Russell as Santa Claus.
I'm definitely killing the Property Brothers. I find them super annoying.
Yeah,
they're the worst.
Agreed.
They're also the reason why buying a house fucking sucks now.
I don't know. I don't have an opinion. Kurt Russell I've married, so I guess that's...
No, I would probably bang him. And trust me, In the Kitchen with David, you want to spend the rest of your life with this guy because he's just going to make you feel great. Like, just 100% happy.
All right, you sold me. I'm going with Joe on this one.
Have I told you? We probably talked about this last week. Like, I legit watch his Facebook live streams like every Thursday morning. He just has coffee and talks to people. Just, it makes you feel good, John.
I believe you, Joe. I believe you do watch them.
Yeah, I do. I'm like a psychopath. Like, I legit chime in with hey, Chicago suburbs here. Just makes me happy.
I may have to try it out because I've learned something startling about myself over quarantine, and that I've got similar TV tastes as Joe.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a slippery slope.
I'm like 2 shows away from starting Real Housewives, I think.
Hey, Housewives Salt Lake City starts tonight. First episode. Ooh. So you want to dive in?
Get in early.
Yeah. All right. Let's bang out a few others from Instagram. Think we could get someone to produce another season of Santa Clarita Diet.
I haven't seen that show.
I watched a couple episodes and it just did not hook me. I know some people.
Yeah.
Really
I watched the whole thing and I pray they don't make any more because it is awful.
I enjoyed it a lot, but I also enjoyed it most because I think Timothy Olyphant was freaking hilarious in that show.
Oh, I love Timothy Olyphant, but in that, he just.
I'm not a huge Drew Barrymore fan, if I'm being honest.
Same. I didn't want to say it, but it just her acting feels very forced, and I felt like she was pulling everybody into that. All right. Your thoughts on buying out an AMC theater for just your friends? It's a thing. Yay or nay? So I don't know if you guys have seen this. A lot of theaters for $100, you can rent out the theater.
I would 100% do it.
So
we are around Christmas because they're showing older movies too. You can just rent out and I think Scrooged and Gremlins and a bunch of other stuff.
In the before times, I had a friend who did this for his birthday party, and we watched Madman, that awful 80s slasher. It was amazing. It was awesome. Yeah. We should, listen, if they're still doing this and the world gets normal again, we should do it for a meetup.
I doubt, once things get back to normal, they're going to be doing it for $100.
Well, I don't know. Those theaters are struggling.
I thought that we were having a meetup in Atlanta sometime soon, and the theater that's privately owned in Atlanta does run out for a couple of $100.
Really?
Well, maybe if
Oh,
our friends in
this is
Atlanta didn't have kids.
Bitch, you have kids. All of them have
Mine's
kids.
20.
Casey,
Mine's 20.
Okay, I can't do anything
That's
because I
it.
have a kid
We're
now.
going to Noblesville.
Literally, we had it in Chicago when my daughter was like 4 months.
To be
We'll
fair,
make it work.
I meant for the next year. We knew you're going to be busy.
I'm
she'll be
sorry,
fine.
I have babysitters.
update,
Whoa, Casey.
update. Casey's face is red.
Yeah. Kyle's
Yeah, I stepped in
dinner
that
isn't
one,
going to
that's
cook
okay.
itself, hey, Casey? All right.
Hey, mine at least lived to 20, so I know somewhat of what I'm doing, I guess.
That's true.
Here's a good one. Red Hot Chili Peppers, the band, or Hot Pockets?
I mean, what is this a choice? Like one or the other?
Yeah.
Like
or
you
which
can
one?
only have one for the rest of your life.
Hmm.
I might go Hot Pockets.
I
Although I,
might.
don't really eat
You know,
Hot
Joe,
Pockets that
I
much.
like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'll go to
I
bat
like the
for
Red
them.
Hot Chili Peppers
Yeah.
too, but it's like
I don't. I was shocked, like later in life, to learn that people hated them because I don't get it.
I despise them. Like,
Why
not-
though?
Not,
Why?
not so much like not even their music, but like as people, I think they're awful, terrible human
Can
beings.
you explain?
And
Oh,
like,
Flea is
crazy.
the shit.
yeah,
Can you explain,
um,
Joe?
Flea is a professor.
Can we? I
yeah,
just want to.
I think Flea is a statesman.
Guys,
I really enjoy.
do
We need to
look
dig
some
into
stuff
this
up.
a little
100% scumbags, and they belong in hell.
Okay.
Oh man.
Because
Yeah,
I was
like,
gonna say you're the dude who goes to bat for like Nickelback, just to be a contrarian. So like I'm surprised
Well,
that you're not.
Like all kidding aside, like years ago, I tried to make a conscious effort to like not like shit on other people's music because like it's your opinion, and like if this stuff makes you happy, by all means, like go for it. Like I'm sure people think the stuff I listen to is stupid and awful. Like my wife tells me every day it is. So like it's your opinion and whatever does it for you. But like those guys, like as people, I think they're awful, and I think they belong in rivers, like drowning.
Jesus Christ, Joe.
Wow. All right, we've touched the nerve. I was the one who said I would probably go Hot Pockets if I could only have one for the rest of my life. But I'm fine with the Red Hot
You know what
Chili
used to
Peppers
be really good, John? I don't know if they still make these, but the like cheeseburger hot pocket, they somehow made it taste like a McDonald's burger. And at the time in my life when I was a trash person, that was very appealing to me.
Yeah.
I
went
ate
back
them
to them.
constantly in high school. Like I probably
Yeah.
ate 1,000 Hot Pockets in 4 years.
Same. And I wanted like maybe a couple years back, I got a couple just to like to relive the memories, and they have definitely like skimped out on the fillings, and it's just not the same anymore.
Yeah, I believe it.
Oh, here's one. What are you eating / drinking during tomorrow's Real Housewives of Salt Lake City premiere?
Can I ask a question, Joe? Are these like Mormon ladies?
Well, that's actually the interesting thing because they announced it, and everyone's like, "How is this going to be interesting if none of them are getting like hammered?"
I said that exact same thing to my wife. I'm
Yeah.
like, they don't drink. Like this is
But-
going to be the most boring thing ever.
In the trailer, they have like tried to hammer home that like some of them are ex-Mormons, some of them aren't at all. There are a couple that don't drink, but like.
So I
They
work.
hammer home that they're slipping roofies to these like Mormon women who have never drank. Not roofies, but they're getting them a little loose. Oh boy.
I work with a dude who grew up in Salt Lake City, but is not a Mormon, and he worked at bars there for years, and he has just like fascinating stories. It's weird.
I think I've told this story before, but my most embarrassing Mormon story was we were at Disneyland with our friends. And the joke is always that my buddy is always traveling for work, so it's usually me, Leslie, and this guy's wife. So we always joke that like they're sister wives, and we're in Disneyland, and we thought it'd be funny if they both wore like the bride ears, and I wore the groom one, and I just randomly asked someone to take a picture, and I jokingly said, "Oh, don't worry, we're not Mormon or anything," and they replied, "Oh, we are." Still very nice, and I felt bad, that's a dickhead thing to say, but here we are. Who wins in an ice cream eating contest? Nicki Minaj, Lil' Kim, or Foxy Brown?
I have no opinion on this.
Is Foxy
Am
Brown
I supposed to
like?
have an opinion on
When was
this?
the
I
last
don't
time?
know.
Now you got me wondering what Foxy Brown is up to, Joe.
No. I would go Lil' Kim. That was my hot take. Cece, I feel like you would have an opinion on this.
I was trying to think,
Do you remember that song "How Many Licks" by Little Kim? That was what pushed me over the edge with her, because it's a toss-up.
Yeah. But I mean, Foxy Brown's been around for a while, man. She's like an OG.
Yeah.
She.
Little Kim's had a lot of surgery.
I just
too.
googled Foxy Brown. She's deaf now. She lost her hearing.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Wow. Downer.
Sorry, dude.
Bring it down.
Yeah, it's been since 2005. She's probably used to it by now, I guess.
Sinus infection, Mucinex D, or just cut your head off.
Cut your head off.
Dude, Mucinex is magic. So here's what you do.
Yeah.
Here's what you do. I have a lot of thoughts on this, Joe.
All right.
If you got sick, okay, and you got like a phlegm situation, here's what you want. You want just regular Mucinex, okay? Go get that. The whatever the strongest thing is, they're horse pills. They'll do you right. Then you go to the pharmacy behind the counter, and you want to get yourself, like if you're at a Walgreens, it's called like Walfed, and it's basically just straight pseudoephedrine. That's what you want. Then if you're just like sneezy phlegmy, that's all you need. If you're also coughing, then you get separately just the cough suppressant by itself. Like no one medicine really has the right combination of things you need, so you basically just buy all the things in individual ingredients, and then you make the cocktail yourself.
Then you make the cocktail yourself.
Yes. That's how you do it.
Maybe like write some notes there, and we'll publish it on the website for people.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
as a
You know what's much
service.
easier, Eric, and you don't even have to go to the store? The power of prayer.
Whiskey. Oh.
I thought you were gonna go cutting your head off.
Oh, yes. You might need to go to the store.
But
for
here's
that.
the other thing though, like you start taking Mucinex though the second you get sick. You do not wait until you feel like you're congested. You just start doing it.
All right, next one. How do you feel about Netflix getting in on the Hallmark movie game?
Sure.
I'll continue to ignore those films on Netflix, just as I have on the Hallmark channel.
I'm all for it, because I'll be honest. The one thing if we're being honest, sometimes I enjoy the Lifetime Christmas movies more than the Hallmark ones, because people in the Lifetime movies, they're fucking like Hallmark at the end, like they hold hands and like maybe decide to get married, but like Lifetime, that there's some skins slapping in there, John. And Netflix, it's just full on whatever. What is a proper Friday the 13th meal? Oh, this episode will be coming out on Friday the 13th, right?
Ah, you're right.
Oh, gross.
I didn't know I was supposed to have a meal prepared for Friday the 13th. It's like a Friday.
Cheetos and beer or something, right? Like,
yeah. There you go. I can eat that in bed.
Can we point out that Casey just said in the chat he didn't know who Foxy Brown was?
Yes. Well, no, you guys were talking about that question. I was like, well, she's been on that new show with Dax Shepard and that other lady.
Well,
That's all I know.
It's fair. Pam Grier was Foxy Brown.
Yeah, I didn't
Brown.
know there was a rapper named Foxy Brown. So how about that?
I gotta say, if I was gonna, I enjoyed Foxy Brown over Little Kim. She had like that smoky voice.
Yeah.
It's very sensual.
But I do know who Lil Kim is, but mostly because of Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah. Here's a good one. How do I get out of bed?
You don't.
Give up.
That's the age-old question.
Yeah. This is a coffee. I love coffee.
It's like a Band-Aid. It's like a Band-Aid, man. Like you're gonna feel better getting out of bed than you are just laying there and waiting.
I'd say the only thing that gets me out of bed is usually I'm up before the kids, and like I'm up at like 5, and I just know like I have the next 2 hours to myself. So
You got to get that alone time, yeah.
If we didn't have kids, I don't think I would ever get out of bed. Here's a good one.
I was gonna say I did see a meme on Reddit the other day that they should make alarm clocks where the alarm is the sound of like your cat or your dog throwing up somewhere in the house because nothing gets you out of bed quicker
than the sound of an animal hurling. Yeah, no, you're right, dude. Even if it's 2 a.m.
Working from home has made it a lot harder, obviously, because like my commute is, 2 flights of stairs. So there's
I will say
really
that one flight of stairs though is really difficult when you're pregnant.
Yeah, I can imagine. Here's a good, and we can just modify it. This person asks, "What new metal have you been listening to?" So I think we can just say whatever you've been listening to.
New metal or new metal?
New NEW. Although someone did follow up with what new NU metal have you been listening to? Anybody? Yeah, it doesn't have to be metal. Anybody listen to anything good?
Have we? So this is actually relevant for the film. Did you guys? You hear the song that was playing during that like scene when he comes home and the other like the other women are there?
Yes, it was Orville Peck, and I was
gonna
so
say,
excited.
Yeah, I saw he was in
It
there.
like got into my head, and I'm like, God, I know that song.
Yep.
I fucking heard that song, and then I finally it like came to me like an hour later. Went and listened to the whole that for at least the first album again.
Yeah,
So good.
so good, so good.
Yeah, I haven't listened to much music.
He and Paul Cawthon just came out with a 7-inch for Record Store Day, and on one side is You've Lost That Loving Feeling, and on the other side it's oh my god, it's one of my favorites and now I can't think of it. But anyway, I had listened to that a lot when it came out.
Yeah.
I have been enjoying the new Carcass, Eric.
That sounds relaxing.
All right. Last but not least, and I think this is a good way to close out. Do you still consider Philly full of garbage humans after what happened with the election? I mean, a tough pill to swallow. It's bittersweet, right? That they're the ones that pushed Biden over the edge. But I mean, I lost my virginity in Philly, John. Like, there's been good things that have happened.
It's got a place in your heart.
Yeah,
and your loins.
I've left my soils there.
Oh.
Oh my god.
No, thank you.
Soils.
Things happen.
Oh boy. Yeah.
I think that's a good place to end, right?
Sure. Do we know what we're
Got it,
doing?
bud.
Do we know what we're doing next week?
It's either Bad Hair or what was the other? His House.
His house.
Yeah.
Sure. I think we're gonna do both.
Gonna do both.
We're just not sure what order yet. I think we're gonna put it up to a patron vote. Which one we should do it
A
first?
petri dish.
For the
Petri
record,
dish.
that was debated before the show, but now I guess we are.
Well, yeah, I said it, and now
now we're doing it.
Now it is true. Yeah, guys, that's I guess that's gonna do it for our discussion on Possessor. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll talk to you next week.
See you.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.